My name is Ben. This is a continuation of my psycho crazy story with my ex-girlfriend, Carrie. Like I said before in the last one, Carrie lived in California, in a different state. She came back to New York to wreak havoc on my life once again. Once I thought she was out of my life forever, she came back in a pink car with tinted windows, acting like a creep wearing blah black. This was around the time of 2020, when COVID was around in its early stages. This story extends to 3 to 4 years, so buckle your seatbelts and prepare for a new ride of terror as I tell you the story of how things got much worse with Carrie. If you want to know all the events that happened before, make sure to watch the previous video. She was back. I felt it in my stomach. I knew that it was Carrie, no doubt, in my mind. I told my dad about it, and he said there's nothing that he can really do considering she hasn't done anything right now. But if she does, he will have her arrested and try to have her tried. This was beginning to be more terrifying. It made me in fear that my dad, a police officer, could not do anything to her, except to give her a simple warning, which I knew she would not listen to. This girl knew no boundaries and wasn't afraid to cross them anymore. But that's if she was afraid to cross them before. She continued this rampage for more and more weeks. She would follow me around every day. I would act like I didn't see her, but I did. I tried to ignore her, hoping that she would just let up and go away, but she kept doing it. Finally, I got so fed up with her that I couldn't take it anymore. And then I went outside into that parking lot to confront her face to face. As soon as she saw me walking towards her car, she drove off really fast, but she had the window down and I saw her face. Confirmed, it was Carrie. She was back. She was back to follow me and, avoid me? It didn't make any sense, but I tried to just brush it off and try to ignore her again. But ignoring her is like telling her that I want to talk to her, that I want to have some sort of relationship with her, because she did not take no for an answer. The next day that I came in for work, my boss pulled me aside from the cash register and told me that a girl had came in earlier that day looking for me. He eventually had to get her out of the store because she started yelling because he did not know where I was and said that I wasn't in yet. She didn't believe him and pulled out a knife and started swinging it at him manically. I was seriously wondering how crazy was this girl to really go around attacking people. They called the cops and the cop arrested her. But this cop was my dad, and he did not inform me that Carrie had been arrested, nor let me know before I went to work, so why? I was seriously beginning to lose my crap. I couldn't seriously take it. The fact that she would bring that crap to my job, to my workplace, the only place where I feel safe in, was beginning to really take me off. I did not understand this girl's mind, the boundaries that she crossed, the way that she did things, the way that she always did things. It began to really infuriate me more than it scared me. I confronted my dad about it, and he said I did not want to upset you or make you worried about Carrie. I told him, well, FYI, she attacked my manager. My manager had said that I needed to take a few days off just in case if she came back trying to threaten my life, because he was seriously thinking that she was going to kill me if I was there. And I began to wonder, what if she was there to do so? I mean, I knew that she was crazy to say a bunch of insane stuff through text messages, but I didn't think she would actually proceed with it. Maybe she was just as crazy than we thought she was. A couple days later, I received a text from an unknown number. This text did not have any words, but it had just a picture. The picture was of me sitting in my bedroom on a second-story window in front of it. Someone clearly had taken a picture from outside of my window and was watching me, so I couldn't figure out what Carrie was up to. I knew Carrie was doing this just to irritate me, to put fear in me, but I wasn't going to give her that. I was so fed up with these games that I just decided to ignore her and block the number. But she made a new number and started calling me on it. She would call me every day, every week, every time that I did something. Our work, it was always calling me. And she did it 30 times a day. It didn't let up. She just kept going and going. Sometimes it would only be at least 5 seconds before she called again. It was beginning to be extremely annoying and irritating and somewhat scary. The fact that she came to my job swinging a knife let me know right then and there that this girl was for real. She is insane. She needs professional help that I could not give. There is something clearly wrong with this girl's mind, and I just wanted her out of my life permanently. She kept coming around the house and kept doing the same thing over and over. At some point, this went on for months, and I began to think maybe she was just all talk. But that was not the end of it. This is the part of the story where things get really freaking real. I was sleeping one night in my bed, and well, we live in New York. We don't have many storms, not like that. It doesn't always happen all the time, but we do get a little bit of rain from time to time. But it wasn't raining this night. In fact, it was completely quiet. When I was sleeping, I had woken up from a weird flash. A flash that came through my window, and that I could see it. I didn't turn around or dare move, but I did look to see if there was another flash, to see if it was possibly raining or stormy outside. And there was no rain, but the flash came again. And I realized it was not a lightning flash, but the flash of a camera. I've taken enough photos to know the flash of a camera when I see it, and it freaked me out. I immediately ran out of my bed to my parents' room and told them about it, and they just assumed maybe it was a storm, but I said I know the flash of a camera, and there's no storm today. Maybe there was, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I cannot tell you that was not the flash of a camera. It had to be. I am taking enough photos to know, personally. I was scared. It was like living in a real horror movie. The flash of a camera was enough to make me paranoid of everything I did. I was always looking behind me, always looking around me, checking my surroundings, but I didn't see that pink car again. But I did see something that was more terrifying. I noticed that from the corner of my eye that there was someone following me, on foot. I knew that this was Carrie, and I decided to just ignore her. But ignoring her did not help. Everywhere I went, she was there. Every store, every gas station, every place I went to, every family member's place I went to, she was always there. I mean, you couldn't really see her from time to time, but I could feel her eyes trained on me from an unknown direction. I've never been so paranoid in my entire life. I couldn't even be around family and feel safe with her around. It began to really take a toll on my mental health, and I started to see a psychiatrist. My psychiatrist told me that these people like her feed off of attention, and she'll let up, but I told her that she has not let up. I've showed her no attention, but she keeps doing it. My psychiatrist just said she hasn't done anything, and she keeps following you. You have to ignore her. I know it's hard, but you have to do so. Wow, thanks for the help. I walked out and stormed out of there, knowing full well that wouldn't help me none. None of this was going to help. She didn't care whether she got attention or not. She was going to do this regardless. This obsession she had with me was no freaking joke. It began to get more crazy and psychological when she started sending verbal messages to me. Verbal abuse over the phone, verbal text. It just began to get insane. She was playing with my freaking mind. I couldn't take it anymore. This girl had me paranoid at every bump, at every creak, every side of a face of an unknown car. I couldn't take it. It's beginning to mount too much. The pressure and the mental state of my mind was beginning to go off the rails. I was seriously starting to lose my mind. It was like being in a freaking psych ward, but living it in your own house in public, in society. It was crazy that the fact that the cops could not do anything to this girl, but she could do this to us, torment me. Remind you that weeks and months have passed. A year has passed into the second year of this torment, and like I said, 3 or 4 years this has been going on. Flash to 2021, this torment continued more on and on. This verbal abuse. She would give me text messages through the phone and even start to make lewd text messages to me. It was beginning to get crazily insane. This girl would say things like, "I hope that you're doing well. I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. You look so pretty and handsome in that lovely tuxedo." It began to freak me out because I wasn't even wearing a tuxedo at any time. I'm not the type of guy to wear fancy things. This girl was completely delusional. This girl even wrote text messages like, "I can't wait for us to get married, and I can't wait to bear your children for you, so we can live together in a happy life." This girl was seriously crazy, and I needed her out of my life immediately because I did not know how much I could take much more. The day my boss let me come back to work, I went into the driveway of our home to get into my car, but someone had skied my car. The car also had been spray painted with a light green and multiple other colors. Someone had skied my car, leaving marks all over the darn thing, busted out the windows. And when I opened the freaking door, you wanna know what I saw? 50 pounds of dog crap lying in the passenger seat and in the driver's seat. I literally had to scoop all of it up into my hand. I didn't have enough time to really get anything from the house, but I decided to just not go to work that day. My car was completely totaled, and I knew who did it. Carrie was beginning to get a little bit more crazier and more insane. I didn't know how much more she could do to me, not until I saw the car. That's when things started to get more violent. I received an email coming from the police. I didn't understand why they needed me to come in, but I did. When I walked in, I saw Carrie crying in her mother's arms, and her mother gave me this look of disgust and horror and complete hatred. I knew Carrie had done something stupid and crazy, and I had to mentally prepare myself for it. I walked into the questioning room, and the police questioned me and asked me, "What do you know about Carrie, and how long you two have known each other?" I said we have known each other for at least maybe a couple of years now, and that she's been constantly stalking me. The police gave me this funny look, as if I was just making this up. I told them that I've been making complaints for months, even a full-on year, to get this girl to leave me alone, but you guys have done nothing to do so. And you wanna know what this cop freaking tells me? No reports have been made about a Carrie Henderson in 6 months or even a year. How the heck? It's not even possible. How would they not have a record of her released in their records? I've made constant calls, even made visits, even done interviews, and I've even talked to the dean. The dean has even talked to them about Carrie. It's impossible for them to not have any records of us calling them. And it dawned on me. I forgot to mention that yes, my father is a police officer, but there is also a sheriff in this town. The sheriff is the father of Carrie Henderson. Mike Henderson is the freaking sheriff of this town and would do anything for his lovey-dovey little girl. I knew deep somewhere that he had gotten rid of the records. He wanted to keep this perfect image of his lovey-dovey daughter in this town and did not want anyone to know about her mental condition. But I knew. With no evidence, there was nothing that I could say. But it gets worse than that. The reason why Carrie had came in crying with her mother is because Carrie had claimed that I had assaulted her. I burst out laughing and told the cop that Carrie is known for being a sociopathic liar and that none of it ever happened. She's clearly insane and shouldn't really be trusted with her words. She's good at lying and manipulating, and you need to watch what she says. He told me that she had irrefutable evidence. And I said, what evidence? Apparently, Carrie had brought evidence to the police that I had assaulted her. She had scratches and bruises on her neck, and her arms, and her body. Apparently, she had a freaking bruise right on her area. I was completely floored. I couldn't believe it that the police brought into her crap. Just goes to show how stupid and ridiculously retarded our justice system really is. There is no justice but injustice. It completely floored me of how the cops took her word over mine, considering she's a rich girl and white, and I'm an African American black boy. Now, I know what you're thinking, it doesn't really have much with race, but in my mind it kinda did. It doesn't make sense how they kept taking her word and how she kept getting off with ease. It didn't make any sense how they completely disregarded my words over hers. She was obviously playing a sick game with the police and me, and she was getting away with it. The cop wanted to charge me right then and there, but my father, the police officer, stepped in and said that there is no way that I could have done this. That to give me a chance and see first before we act. He decided to take my father's word for it and give me a chance, but gave me a warning not to leave town or do anything suspicious, or I will be arrested. I agreed to these terms, and hopefully that they can find irrefutable evidence to get this girl out of my life and lock her up, possibly put her in a mental ward. I was so angry that the police were really taking this as I was the freaking criminal and she was the victim. But there is more to the story that hasn't ended yet. This is only the second year of this torment, and there will be more leading on in the next part of the story. I'll stop it right here for now to leave even more suspense. This girl gets even more psycho crazy than she did before in the next one. If anyone personally is going through the same experience, do not be afraid to tell someone about it and cut ties with the person that you're doing it with. You never know the crazy psycho people that are walking the streets, especially in today's era. Be safe and always be on the lookout for those crazies that are maybe lurking behind a certain pretty face.